Hi there, year sevens. Mr. Baines here, and we have finished the Romans. So we've learnt loads about the Romans, we've done loads of different things, and we are now moving on to our next topic. And the next civilization we are looking at is Vikings. So remember, we're looking at different civilizations. So we've done Mesopotamia, which was the first ever civilization. We've done the Roman Empire, which is the first empire and the first country to start taking over other countries. And now we're going to look at the Vikings. Now, the Vikings have a lot of myths about them, and that's why we've picked this civilization, because there are a lot of people that believe that things like this, How to Train Your Dragon, is accurate about Vikings. You've also got the TV show Vikings and stuff like that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start looking at the Vikings, and we're going to look at the impact that the Vikings had on Britain, a bit like that we did with the Romans. Okay, because unlike Mesopotamia, once again, the Vikings, like the Romans did, came to Britain. Remember, we're going to be comparing these civilizations over the year. So, big comparison there is that the Romans and the Vikings both came to Britain. Your first task, what I want you to do, is go to the Google Docs where it's got the first task, and I just want you to write down anything you think you know about the Vikings already. You can use things like the film How to Train Your Dragon, because they're all Vikings. If you watch the TV show The Vikings, you could do that. Or if you just know any facts about the Vikings already, you can just write them down. If you don't know anything about the Vikings, then just leave that bit blank. Like, that is fine, because it's all about what you knew already. So pause the video, off you go to the first task, and just write down anything you know about the Vikings. Brilliant. So today we're looking at who were the Vikings. And that's today's title, and that's what we're looking at. So here we've got a brilliant cartoon of Vikings. We've got the Viking ship here. We've got Vikings coming out of the sea. We've got the horned helmets, the shields, the spears, the swords. It's a very, very Viking picture. So how does this cartoon make the Vikings seem fierce? And do you think this picture is accurate? Now, what you're gonna do is I'm going to go straight back onto that Google Docs, and I'm just going to answer the two questions. Now, this one, you're looking at their faces for the first question, their weapons. Why do they look fierce and angry? Now, the second picture, I don't want you to write no because it's a cartoon. That's not what we're looking at. Is do you think that the horned helmets, the ships, the spears, the shields, the fact they landed and then ran out of the water, do you think this is historically accurate about Vikings? Okay, so that is your own opinion. There's no right or wrong answer there. Okay? So off you go to the Google Docs, go and do that now, and then you come straight back. Brilliant. So the word Viking means raider, and certainly some Vikings did plenty of raiding. However, the Vikings were much more than warriors and raiders. So the Vikings had a rich and varied culture in their homelands of Scandinavia. They worked as farmers, fishermen, traders, weavers, woodworkers, stone carvers, and metal workers. Some Vikings built fine houses and adorned themselves with beautiful jewelry. They worshipped a range of pagan gods and created wonderful stories about life and the universe. And as you can see here, this is a movie Viking, and this is a historically accurate Viking. Now, notice the difference: no horned helmets, the weapons a lot smaller, the shield is there, and look at what they're wearing in comparison. So this is an accurate Viking. So a lot of the Vikings you lot will have seen in the media is not correct. So what were the Vikings like? So here is an impression of what Vikings might have been doing across the Viking world in June 983. So this is when the Vikings were around. So you've got the criminal called Eric the Red. I love that name. My name's Eric the Red. Anyway, who had been banished from Iceland for 3 years, sails up a ford on the western coast of what he would later call Greenland. Eric hopes that other Viking settlers will be attracted by the good grazing land. So he leaves Iceland and goes to Greenland. Next one. In the port of Dublin, shipbuilders are raising the mast of a longship. The shipbuilders are proud of their new vessel with holes for 30 pairs of oars. It is one of the longest Viking ships ever made. Number 3. In Iceland, all the free men are flocking to an assembly known as an athlin. Here, disputes about land will be settled and important decisions will be made. When they arrive, people put up tents and light fires. They're looking forward to an evening of feasting and storytelling. 4. On the island of Orkney, a Viking woman is weaving at the loom of a longhouse. She's bought some strips of silk from a trader and carefully weaves these into the cloth. Her husband returns into the fields and tells her the cloth should make a fine dress. Number 5. Outside his house in Coppergate, Jorvik, a man, is stitching a leather shoe at a workbench. As he works, he occasionally shouts across the other shoemakers and leather workers in the street. The shoemaker's wife, a Saxon woman, calls from inside to tell him the meal is ready. Next one. In the trading town of Bika, the coin maker at the town's newly opened mint stamps a silver coin with a picture of a trading ship. He hopes that in the next few days, a ship will arrive bringing more Arab silver from the south. And then the last one. A group of Viking traders hauled their boat to the river Volga using ropes and logs. They had taken walrus ivory and furs from Scandinavia to Constantinople. Most of the 1,600-mile journey can be made by river, but in some places the boat has to be hauled over land. It is strenuous work, but the traders have the captured slaves to help them. So a lot of different jobs going on there. There isn't just Vikings who are raiders and going around pillaging and killing. You have coin makers there, you have stitchers, you have leather makers, freemen. So in the period 750 to 1050, the Vikings became highly skilled shipbuilders, construction vessels which would carry them huge distance across the wild and dangerous seas. Some Vikings from what would later become Norway and Denmark sailed west. They built lives for themselves in lands across the North Sea and the Atlantic Oceans. Vikings from Sweden established long-distance route into the east and settled along the vast rivers of what became later known as Russia. So they didn't just raid and pillage. And they settled in all these countries from Greenland, Iceland, Britain, Ireland, and then Scandinavian countries here, and then settled in places of Russia. So Vikings' names don't sound like names we are used to. You're going to use the sheet. So you're going to go and back out of here. There's going to be a sheet that looks like this, but with more information at the bottom. And you're going to use that to create your name in the Google document. So I think I'm a winner. So if we look at this list, I am picking winner as the first part. So I pick Sig, which means victory. Okay, so that's how I picked the first part of my name. So I didn't want to be an animal. I didn't want to be a god. Didn't want to be a random thing. I wanted victory because I want to win things. So the first half of my name is Sig. My favourite animal is a wolf. So when you come down to this bit, you'll see a list of girls' names and a list of boys' names. So I'm going to the list of boys' names. So list B, and on there is a wolf. So I'm going to be Victory Wolf. That's my name. And that is Ulf. So my Viking name is Zig Ulf. Victory Wolf. So what I want you to do is I want you to find this sheet, go onto the Google Docs, and then just type in what is your name. And I want to see the best names out there. I don't just want to have boring Viking names. Come up with the best possible name you can have. Okay? So go and pause the video and go off and create your Viking names. Maybe even ask family members. Find out what your mum wants to be. Find out what your cat, your goldfish, your dad, your sister, your brother, your uncle, your nephew. Find out what they all want to be. What are their Viking names? And let's find out the best Viking names out there. So, who were the Vikings? Often the name Viking conjures images of brutes and barbarians, but the truth is a little different. Vikings were warriors. More precisely, Viking is the name by which the Scandinavian sea-borne raiders of the early medieval period are commonly known as. So only the raiders that leave Scandinavia and attack were called Vikings. Everyone else was just Scandinavian, okay? Even before the earliest Viking raids on the monasteries, the Anglo-Saxons used the Old English word Wysin. But this was not a word that was used often or exclusively for Scandinavian raiders. Instead, it was used for all comers, and it meant pirate. So English people, Anglo-Saxons, called Vikings Wysin, pirates. So Viking is basically a pirate. It was only in the late 10th or early 11th century in Anglo-Saxon poems such as the Battle of Morden that Wysin came to mean a Scandinavian sea raider. Vikings were not professional privateers or full-time soldiers, or at least not at first. Originally, they were full-time fishermen and farmers who spent much of the year at home. Only in the summer would they have rallied to call for a local leader and ventured across the sea to raid, trade, or seek out new lands to settle. The Old Norse language, spoken in Scandinavia, used the word Vikina in its vocabulary, but its origins are uncertain. The explanation currently favoured is that it originally meant a seaman who came from the Vik district of the Oslo Fjord, and then came to mean seaborne warriors, firstly from that area and later from all over Scandinavia. So Viking basically means someone from Scandinavia that lives on the sea. So anyone else that stays in Scandinavian are technically not Vikings. Okay? And here are your answers. So these are the questions basically. Okay? So you're looking for these questions. So what word did the Anglo-Saxons call the Vikings? And that word is Wysin. The Old English used to describe Vikings meant pirate. What job did Vikings have before they became full-time soldiers? You've got fishermen, farmers. What language described Vikings as Vikinger? Old Norse language. Okay, so they are your answers to your lovely questions. So give it a go. Answer those questions. And then once you've done that on the Google Doc, go on to the quiz, answer the questions there, give it a go, see how you do. Okay, so this is a new unit. This is Vikings. We're going to be looking now at Scandinavia, places they come from, and over the next term and a half, we're going to be looking at the Vikings, what they do, all different things about them. So have a think now, based on what we know. Do you still think this is an accurate picture of Vikings? You don't have to write anything down. It's just something for you to think about as we go through the Viking unit. Well done, guys. Keep up the good work. Remember, you've got the drop-ins to go to if you're struggling with any of the work, and one of the teachers will be there to help you. If that is not what you want to do, then just go onto the Google Classroom, write your question in the stream, and your teacher will be there to help you, okay? Keep it up. You're doing really well, and welcome to Vikings.